Physical custody of the child by the state could be taken if the kid is being provided with any form of gender-affirming care that has been outlined in this bill. In the meantime, while they're trying to pass these laws, like some parents brought their trans teenagers to protest, those children were effectively kidnapped. As usual, here we are talking about Florida again. Florida is just the nexus of fascism in this country. They've been trying to make it progressively more illegal to provide youths with gender-affirming care. They've made adults on Medicaid unable to get gender-affirming care. Just continuously making things worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. One of the things that they've done to make things worse is they're advancing a bill which could separate trans kids from affirming parents. Now, we may have discussed this already previously, but I'm coming back to it because this continues moving forward. You know, Florida House of Representatives approved 3 anti-LGBTQ plus bills on Wednesday, when was this written? This was from April 21. So not very long ago. The lawmakers in the lower house of the state legislature voted 82-31, approving an amended version of this bill, first introduced in March by Republican Senator Clay Yarborough. The bill would classify gender-affirming care for minors, including puberty blockers and hormones, as a form of, quote, serious physical harm, which courts could cite to justify temporarily, quote, taking physical custody of the child during custody enforcement hearings. This is essentially opening the door to any trans kid, if there's any question of custody, like if the parents are going through a divorce or anything like that, during custody enforcement hearings, physical custody of the child by the state could be taken if the kid is being provided with any form of gender-affirming care that has been outlined in this bill. Also prohibits state funds from being used to provide gender-affirming care, directs the State Board of Medicine to adopt emergency rules regarding trans minors already receiving care, adding to the ongoing atmosphere of confusion about those rules in Florida. So the Board of Medicine already declared that trans minors shouldn't be on the care, but I guess they had it grandfathered in to where if you were already on it, you were allowed to stay on it, but now they're trying to change that. Prohibiting state funds from being used to provide gender-affirming care. That always means, like, when you're saying state funds, if you don't realize, state funds usually means like Medicaid and Medicare. Like those are disbursements that the government gives, you know? So if a hospital is taking money from Medicare and they are also providing gender-affirming care, like they may very well have their ability to provide gender-affirming care taken away because there is like a risk of them losing their license and losing their funding. Or sorry, not losing their license in this case. In this case, it's like this hospital will no longer be able to work with Medicaid or Medicare if they provide gender-affirming care. So it's just a way of sneakily getting them to stop providing it. But anyway, that's not the main focus of today's topic, because we've already talked about that a bit in the past. But like, yeah. So apparently some of the most egregious provisions have been removed, such as the bill would previously allowed courts to unilaterally modify out-of-state custody agreements, effectively giving a green light to unsupportive parents to move their children to Florida to prevent them from accessing gender-affirming care. So yeah, even in this mitigated format, the proposed legislation is one of the most extreme anti-trans bills in the country. Bill is now returning to the Senate, so it's not really clear what's going to happen going forward, I guess, with this. But as per usual, I want to draw attention to the fact that when a fascist takeover is happening, they don't need your legislative permission. They don't need to push things through the legislature. They can do fucked up shit completely outside of that realm. So is this only going to apply to trans kids? What about cis kids on puberty blockers? How are they claiming it's harmful to just the kids they don't want to exist? Well, okay, so that is the one thing that might lead this to not succeed in the courts, is if you declare that this medicine is safe for precocious puberty, but is not safe for gender-affirming care, then that might be the thing that breaks all of this when it does go through the courts. We'll see. But that's not the point. The main point is that in the meantime, while they're trying to pass these laws, they also do things outside of the legislative process. For example, there was a protest at the Florida Legislature. Like some parents brought their trans teenagers to protest. Those children were effectively kidnapped. And now I don't know what the most recent details on it. We will have to discover during this segment because I don't have like a most updated link on this. like as to what happened afterwards. But Florida lawmakers have been accused of kidnapping trans children after a defiant protest against anti-trans laws in the House of Representatives. So on Wednesday, April 19, a TikTok video was shared on Twitter which showed parents separated from their children while at the Florida Legislature. So here's what happened to the Florida Legislature.
The youngest one is like 12, and the youngest one 12.
I believe what's happening here is that the children are inside behind those doors and the doors have been shut and the parents have been shut outside. Like that seems to be what's happening. They're just like screaming, let them go. And that's not very effective. These guys are just standing there. This is going to work a little bit better on Twitter, I guess.
In the Florida State Capitol. Of the House of Representatives in the Florida State Capitol. So if you go in through these doors, it's actually the gallery where we're allowed to be as citizens and constituents. Kidnappers! 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 Parents are here. There's one of them.
So the children are in the gallery, like, which is the balcony kind of overseeing the whole room. And I guess the kids are just in there.
Parents are here. There's another guardian. There you go. I believe the youngest one is like 12, and the youngest one 12.
Okay, like, I'm sorry, but why are you standing there chanting, let them go? Like, I'm sorry, but why do either of these two people still have teeth right now? Like, that's my question. Like, why do either of these smug bastards still have teeth? Like, first of all, how are you as a parent gonna do some stupid fucking shit? Like, take your transgender child to the nexus of fucking fascism in America and, like, let them be taken custody of by the state. And then you're not, like, retaliating physically. I guess they may have guns. Like, what are two guys with each of them having a handgun, maybe? Like, each of these two guys, the worst that they could have on them is a handgun. What are they going to do against an entire crowd of 20 people who decide to start... I don't know. Let's finish this video, though.
If you are in a red state, if you are in any state that is implementing these kind of laws, you need to stop taking your trans children to any kind of state house, any kind of government building. You need to stop taking them there. You need to start implementing your time to get the F out of here plan.
She knows.
If you don't have one, it's time for you to get one. Missouri already has a tattletale website, and now Florida is straight up kidnapping people on live stream. Where the F is our government?
Yeah, I mean, these are questions that we have. Yeah, the parents and their children were at the House of Representatives in the state capital, Tallahassee, on Tuesday 18 to protest this bill, which would see medical professionals banned from providing puberty blockers and hormone therapy to trans minors. A number of protesters, adults and children, threw underwear onto the lawmakers from the gallery with messages like "not your business" and "leave my genitals alone" written on them. Those who had thrown the underwear were detained. Parents and guardians said said minors were not allowed to enter, which is illegal, they said. They withheld the children who were queer from their parents. It's just a really fucking stupid decision to make, to take your kids to this place. And like, you should be focusing on, like, if you live in Florida, and especially if you have a trans kid in Florida, you know what you need to be doing? You need to be keeping your fucking head down. You need to keep your head down. You need to go about your business. You need to save up money. You need to start selling your belongings. You need to make your exit plan and get the fuck out of there. Don't take your child to the state house, you moron. These are the people who still believe in using our institutional processes. The silver lining is they'll never be that naive again. I hope so. But what happened? Like, did these kids end up getting released? Yeah, here's a picture. Fascism has no place in Florida. Stop trans genocide. They took some granny panties and wrote on them with Sharpie or whatever. Okay. It was later explained that the protesters were detained following this underwear stunt, with the parents apparently being escorted out of the gallery where their children remained. In a follow-up video posted Wednesday, Kyle said that the parents and children were reunited while one adult protester was arrested. So this is like a TikTok video, which is why is it so weird? Look at this embed. This embed is so fucked up. So allegedly only one arrest was made and the children were reunited with their parents. So I guess it's not like a whole situation where they like took custody of the kids. But the thing is that they're kind of demonstrating that they can do that. They're sort of demonstrating that they are able to do whatever they want. They are able to kidnap your children and like block you off from them. And all you can do is sit there and shout, let them go, let them go. Like, how about you fucking nut up as a parent? Are you fucking kidding me? Like, I'm only an older sibling, and like I would freak the fuck out if my teenagers were like held captive without any formal process. Like, seriously, I don't understand. I don't understand how you as a parent can just fucking mill about, how you can just fucking stand there. Like, I get that there's risk involved, but there's risk involved in just letting your child be fucking stolen from you by the fascist government of the state of Florida. Pretty absurd at this point. Should have dipped the underwear in Nutella first. Oh my God, true. They're basically saying, yeah, those are some nice kids. Shame if something happened to them, though. Yes, like you're live streaming. I like the fact that they're not even making any attempt to physically intimidate or like enter the space is just pathetic to me. Like, what fucking morons you were in the first place to bring your children to this event. And then like you're like a failure as a parent on multiple accounts. You're a failure as a parent for bringing your vulnerable trans kid to this shitty environment. You're a bad parent for like just letting the state have your children and just standing there waiting, because you've just proven that they can steal your children. You've just proven that you'll fucking just stand there shouting and doing nothing. Why did they do this though? I mean, they did this because people believe that protest is going to get them somewhere. And like, sure, if it was cis people, and I think that, you know, I think that these kids have grown up with the idea that they should be able to protest and that will accomplish something, and that making their will known will do something. But like, it's up to the parents to be responsible and tell them, no, what's likely going to happen is that you're going to be putting yourself in unnecessary danger. And then we're going to have to deal with you being taken off to juvenile detention or some bullshit like that. Or me as a parent being arrested for neglect or something. Yeah, exactly. Taking your kids to the stronghold of the people who want to kill them. Repeat. Make your plans to get out of Florida. If you're trans, and if you have trans kids, if you're a cis parent with trans kids, get out of Florida. Sell your house. Break your lease. I don't care. You are a political refugee now. I'm sorry to be the one to inform you. If you weren't aware of it before this moment, you are a political refugee now, and you need to start acting like one. Yeah, that moment when libs realize you cannot solve every problem in the world via, quote, polite debate. So how do we protest? I mean, you protest in ways that are gonna actually get something accomplished, which is to say, don't just go scream at the State House. Like, the only forms of protest that work. Okay, if you want my advice on how to protest, I'm gonna tell you to go study the suffragettes. Go become intimately familiar with all of the different ways that the suffragettes managed to earn the right to vote. You will find that many of their tactics went beyond mere protest. This is the intended result of whitewashing MLK and villainizing Malcolm X. Oh, of course. Yeah. You mean protest doesn't work without inherent threat of violence? Certainly without some inherent threat of actually gumming up the works in some way. You know, the reason why so many Republicans tried passing laws to make it legal for you to hit someone with your car if there's a protest happening on the road is because because gumming up the roads is a damage to the economy. Like, it is a damage to capitalism. Yeah, also protesting in a place that is not a suicide mission. Like, protest, I don't know, outside the State House. Maybe outside the State House, where they can't just shut the doors and bar you from being able to access your children. Fucking morons. I hope they feel stupid. I hope those parents feel fucking stupid. Like, the level of negligence that they have just, like, I'm really, like, with everything, I'm really pissed off at the state of Florida, obviously, but those parents are fucking stupid. Really, really, really upsetting to me. I'm like, I have a trans teenager, and I'm like, I don't even want him to go speak in front of a committee meeting about this, you know, in Missouri, where they're trying to pass laws to make it illegal for minors. If he asked me like, hey, I want to go speak in front of these things, I would be like, no, I would tell him no, he would not be permitted to go. As a parent, you have to tell your child, you are not permitted to go to this place of danger. I hope this is the wake-up call some of these people need to realize this is not the time to fight politically. It is the time to leave. I hope. It's gonna be May. Thank you so much to my Patreon supporters. I want to especially shout out this month Tiago Nascimento, Mersh Rolvog, Danielle McDonald, Amanda B., Athiette, Spooky Heather Sylvia, Sarah A., Wellington Marcus, Michelle Winter, Desi Quiche, Jamie Jam, Suzanne Maynard, Mr. Atheist, Elizabeth Bartell, Kevin Young, Nova, and Sojo.